Oh, hey, we're on, Dalton. Hey, it's the DJ Preps football preview show. Hashtag DJ Preps football preview show. Week 3, episode 3. I'm Brad. The ginger next to me is Dalton. How we doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm here. That's how I'm doing. I'm here.
That's all we can ask of you, Dalton. Show up. Showing up is half the battle.
I can barely do that.
Anyway, we're here for the next few minutes to talk high school football, of course. This is, like I said, episode 3. We go through and we pick out 3 big games to watch. We give out the Broughton Award. We tell you where we're going to be this weekend covering games. So let's start, Dalton, by reviewing our predictions from last week. Of course, those 3 big games we let this quarter, that will decide who wins these games. Then we'll pick the score. Because if we actually pick the winners, we get some angry calls and emails from mamas and daddies.
Yeah,
we don't want that. Nobody wants that. So everybody's happy. So the coin did better last week. Went 2-1 after going 1-2 the week before.
Improvement.
Indeed. It got the Tupelo game right. Tupelo beat Corinth. Got the Booneville game right as the Booneville beat Baldwin. Did not get the Joe Bowl correct. It picked Faulkner. No, it picked Walnut and Faulkner won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but still, that's improvement. 2-1. Let's see. And the best pick, by the way, Dalton, this week was me. Corinth and Tupelo. I picked, what did I pick? I picked 35-20. It was 35-29 in overtime.
It still wasn't as close as my week 1 pick. So
No, sure. You were only a point off on those. Okay, so real quick, let's introduce the 3 games to watch. We've got Amory at Aberdeen. We've got Nettleton at Booneville. And we've got West Point at Starkville. I got to work on my wrist action. Okay, let's start with the A game. Amory at Aberdeen. That's the matchup. It's the big A game down in Monroe County. It dates back to 1935, Dalton. This is the 82nd meeting. It's an old rivalry. Trivia: Amory leads the series 45-36, but Aberdeen has won the last 9 meetings, which ties the record for this series. Amory won 9 in a row back from 1993 to 2001 during the Bobby Hall days. So 3 keys to the game. I'm going to look at 3 important factors that will determine the outcome of this game. Key number 1, can Amory slow down Aberdeen quarterback Fred Fields? He's been good for a couple of years, Dalton. He's off to a great start. 15 of 19 passing, 266 yards and 4 touchdowns. Leads the team in rushing with 242 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I don't think there's any way of stopping him. You might can slow him down, but you're not stopping him.
Yeah, Coach Alan Glenn told me they're just going to try to contain him best they can. Key number 2, turnovers. Both teams have been pretty good at forcing turnovers the first 2 games. Amory has forced 5. Aberdeen has forced 4, and Amory is led by safety Trendon Gillen. He's very fast. He has an interception, a fumble recovery, and he's forced 2 fumbles. So he's making the plays, and he's a key guy on offense. Key number 3, the mascots. That's right, the mascots. I mean, here's the question. Who would win in a death match, Dalton, a bulldog or a panther?
Panther.
I would think so. Now, Bulldogs have pretty tough hides. They got the low center of gravity going for them. It's like an offensive lineman. You got to stay low. But I feel like the Panther with the claws and the size advantage would probably win that matchup.
I feel solid with the Panther.
Me too.
On that pick.
Okay. Prediction time this quarter brought to you by James Puckett, the guy behind the camera. Hi, James. Thanks. I'm always broke. I never have any money. Okay, heads, home team wins. Tails, visiting team wins. And Aberdeen is the host. The flip. And the coin picks Amory, which might be a bit of an upset, but who knows. So Amory, the winner according to fate. Quick score prediction, Dalton.
27-21.
I will say 28-26. Cool. Okay, done with that one. I don't know why I still do that. Nettleton at Boonville. The matchup, we got 2 Class 3A teams, both off to fast starts, both 2-0. And Nettleton's defense has been tremendous, by the way. I got to see them last week. They shut out Hamilton. They've thrown 2 shutouts in 2 weeks. So the 3 keys to the game, that Nettleton defense versus Dallas Gamble. That's your first key. Dallas Gamble, a great running back for Boonville. The Tigers, like I said, they've allowed 0 points. They shut down Hamilton last week. Gamble, a Division I prospect, he has 336 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, also has a receiving touchdown. He just makes that offense go, Dalton. I mean, he's one of the best around.
Oh, no doubt. But he's playing against a defense that's the only team in the state that hasn't allowed a point. So
yeah, much improved from last year, it appears. But the opponents were Mantachie and Hamilton, schools in lower classifications. Boonville is a really good 3A team, so
No doubt.
this will give us a really good idea of just how good that Nettleton defense is. Key number 2, Nettleton quarterback Graham Gardner, still a bit of a work in progress. He's a first-year starter. Dalton took over for Colton Osborne, who was very good. Had a decent game last week. Threw actually probably his worst pass of the night, ended up being a touchdown. The receiver went up and got it, but he throws a pretty ball. He's just not always on target on the deep stuff, but he can run a little bit. So if he can get loose against Boonville's defense, that could certainly be a huge advantage for Nettleton. Okay, key 3 to this game. Again, the mascots. Okay. Who would win in a death match, a tiger or a blue devil?
Blue devil.
Well, first we got to define what is a blue devil. I guess it's
Something to do with Satan. He wins.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, how do you compete with the forces of evil?
He wins this one.
I would think that a tiger would be no match for a blue devil.
No match.
But let's see what the coin says. Again, heads home, tails visitor. The coin will pick, Nettleton.
Ooh.
Okay, score prediction.
17-14.
I will say 16-15. So Nettleton, the winner, according to this. All right. Watch out, Elizabeth. Ooh, look at that one. That went all the way to your desk, Dalton.
He started right on that card just over and over again.
It's the best one I've ever done. West Point at Starkville, big rival game. You got the 2-time defending 5A state champs in West Point taking on our number 1 large school, Starkville. West Point has won 30 consecutive games. That's pretty good.
It's all right.
Last time they lost a game, it was against, guess who? Starkville, back in 2016. So West Point, some people thought maybe they were down this year. They've looked just really good.
They've been just as good as they have been.
Yeah, they probably are. 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, Starkville's front 7 against the West Point rushing attack. West Point always runs the ball well. But there are some D1 guys on that Starkville defense, like defensive end Jaleel Clemens and linebacker Zach Edwards. So that's going to be a really tough test for the West Point offense. Key number 2, the 1-2 punch of Luke Altmaier, the quarterback for Starkville, and running back Rodriguez Clark. Luke, a first-year starter, but really good. 28 of 37, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns. Clark, 26 carries, 217 yards, 4 touchdowns. Starkville is just a complete team, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, and they got so many D1 guys in there that just kind of round it out. It's
ridiculous.
Rodriguez Clark, D1. Both the defensive players you mentioned, D1. Luke Altmaier's got D1 offers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably so.
Oh, yeah, they're so good. But
might be the best team in the state. Key number 3, the mascots. So this is an interesting one, Dalton. Really, I think it's really no contest. Who would win in a death match, a Green Wave or a Yellow Jacket? What chance does this Yellow Jacket have against a huge tidal wave of green water? I mean, the only green water I've ever seen was either in a swamp or in my pool.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Green Wave, but I want to know what makes it green there. What's making it green for them?
Does it really matter? The Yellow Jacket would just drown. Got no shot. Let's see what the coin says on this one. West Point at Starkville. It says Starkville. Your pick? Score?
28-27.
I'll say 19-18.
Okay.
Right? There we go. Check this out. Oh, I hit Elizabeth. I'm so sorry. Sorry. You okay? Paper cut? No? Okay.
She was in the way.
She was in the way. I can't control where this goes. The one before went behind James. Okay, now time for the Broughton Award. Quick explainer, Brad Dalton Broughton. Best 1-2 punch of the past week. Smithville quarterback Octavian Miller and his wide receiver Jamarcus Walton. They hooked up for 3 touchdowns last week in a 25-13 win against Hatley. Miller was 17 of 14, 186 yards and 4 touchdowns. Also rushed for 109 yards. Walton had 7 catches for 73 yards and 3 touchdowns. So congrats to those guys. All right, going to wrap it up by telling y'all where we're going to be this Friday, what games we're covering. Amory at Aberdeen, Melissa Metter. Nettleton at Booneville, me. New Albany at Pontotoc, Jonathan Wise. South Pontotoc at East Union, Gene Phelps. Tupelo at Clarksdale, Dalton. Get to drive over to the Delta.
Can't wait.
West Point at Starkville, Paul Jones. So there you go. And that's it for this episode of the hashtag DJ Preps Football Preview Show. Be sure to also check out our podcast, Prep Rally. Drops every Wednesday in iTunes, your podcast apps, or at preprally.djournal.com. We will see you next week. Thanks.
You almost hit her again.